per hour.
Put your hands out that window right now!
And not in the line of duty.
One of those guys who was going at 80 miles an hour to a donut shop.
We catch them red-handed in the 2020 speed trap.
You guys, this guy's going 70 at a 45 right now.
And a high school senior who went from leading cheers to leading the news.
Caitlin Hunt and her teen sex case.
Sex scandal.
Locked up, all because of a high school romance with another girl who was just 14.
My daughter is in jail for having a high school girlfriend.
I wonder if you feel that you've made a mistake here.
Were they out of bounds?
Here now, Elizabeth Vargas and David Muir.
A lot of us remember our first serious romances in high school, or what we thought was serious at the time. But how many of us have actually ended up facing up to 30 years in prison because of them?
In the last 24 hours, a big decision in a Florida courthouse in a controversial case that's gotten national headlines as a showdown between love and the law. A love between two girls. Here's Matt Gutman with the exclusive jailhouse interview.
On Florida's Treasured Coast, Sebastian River High, home of the Sharks. Can't hide that shark pride, they say. But what was hidden in that teenage shark tank called high school? No one is proud of. A sex scandal, felonious love.
Caitlin Hunt and her teen sex case.
Sex scandal.
Lewd and lascivious battery of a child.
Caitlin Hunt was a senior whose crush turned into a crime. Her love improbably landing her in lockup here at the Indian River County Jail.
A criminal relationship never crossed my mind once.
Hunt was an honor student, a choir girl.
I wanna sing, I wanna shout, I wanna scream so loud.
And the team you see tossed in the air by her fellow cheerleaders here was also voted most school spirit. Possessed of a big heart.
It's cute, but it's a video.
Ripe for love.
We had lunch together. We just started hanging out a lot, like in school and talking.
The cheerleader fell for the jock. At first, just stealing kisses, and then sex in the school bathroom.
I would say we had a really close relationship. We told each other everything.
Although Caitlin was 18 at the time, the person she had sex with was just 14. But it gets much more complicated because this is not a classic Romeo and Juliet story. It's a Juliet and Juliet story. The person 18-year-old Caitlin Hunt says she loved and had sex with was a 14-year-old girl.
The homosexuality aspect of it was involved. When you have somewhat of a spiritual community, lots of churches, and a lot of very conservative people, to be quite frank with you, when that type of liberal activity comes to a community, it's the talk of the town.
She's real funny. She was like that person you could go to if you're having a bad day. She could cheer you up in like 5 minutes. She was just, all around, like, just a good girl.
Caitlin's mother, Kelly, says she knew her daughter was in a same-sex relationship, but didn't realize the other girl was so young.
And did you meet the girlfriend?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What did you think of her?
She was a sweetheart. I liked her. She was very sweet.
Did it ever dawn on you that the difference in age might be a dangerous thing?
I did not know the girl was 14. I had no idea she was a freshman. She looks older than my daughter.
Something else she says she did not know, the younger girl ran away from home one night and had a sleepover with Caitlin in her home. Eventually, it was a coach who revealed the relationship to the younger girl's parents. The next day, they and their 14-year-old daughter were in the sheriff's office.
Their feeling was that the relationship was unhealthy and inappropriate based upon the age of the parties.
Crimes Against Children detective Jeremy Shepard set a trap using the younger girl as bait.
Tell me how you decided to do this controlled phone call with the victim.
That is a procedure that we often use in cases like this in order to attempt to get the victim to get a confession from the suspect for us.
Like, you're my first person I ever had sex with, like, so I mean, like, that's an attachment, you know? Like, does that mean anything to you?
Obviously, it means something to me.
This is where sweet love soured. In the state of Florida, even consensual sex between an 18-year-old and a 14-year-old is illegal. Caitlin was arrested.
They had her in handcuffs in the driveway.
Put into a police cruiser. What's going through your mind?
I don't even know. It was just I was so shocked. I was scared to death because she was so scared to death.
I'm Detective Shepard with the Sheriff's Office.
In an interrogation room, Caitlin is questioned, asked about intimate details most people would want to discuss with their best friend, much less a police officer.
Would you say the first time y'all had sex was before Christmas or after Christmas?
After.
Okay.
We met Caitlin at the Indian River County Jail yesterday for her first interview. We expected to meet a bubbly teenager, but after 2 months in lockup, the high-spirited girl was gone. This Caitlin appeared stunned, nearly speechless, still a bit bewildered by the whirlwind that landed her here.
So you literally didn't know that you were breaking the law?
No, I really didn't know. I wouldn't have continued if I really knew what the laws were and if I knew what I was getting myself into.
Assistant State Attorney Brian Workman charged Caitlin with 2 counts of lewd or lascivious battery. Those are felonies.
I don't think that either one of these girls thought that anything that they did was wrong.
I understand that Caitlin is 18. I'm well aware that she's 18, but in no way, shape, or form is that child an adult.
After her arrest in February, Caitlin was released on bail. The judge set a condition: she could not contact her young girlfriend. The peppy cheerleader and choir girl who dreamed of studying nursing was now facing serious criminal repercussions for her forbidden romance. A possible criminal record, registering as a sex offender and going to prison for a maximum of 30 years.
Voted most school spirit?
Yeah.
And then you're in jail.
I know. It's like something you think you would never go through. I feel like my senior year was like ruined.
Did she ever tell you about her sexuality?
Not outrightly, not like, hey, I am gay, or hey, I'm a lesbian, or hey, I'm bisexual. We never had that conversation.
Her mother claiming the prosecutor and the younger girl's family were motivated in part by an anti-gay bias. On Facebook, she aired her daughter's Shakespearean lament, writing of the younger girl's parents. They were out to destroy my daughter. They feel like my daughter made their daughter gay. The family then came up with this line: "Stop the hate, free Kate."
I needed everybody to know what was going on, and for someone else to say, you were right. Like, this is absolutely crazy and wrong.
Gay rights activists and others grabbed this digital gauntlet and rallied behind Caitlin and her family. Supporters donated tens of thousands of dollars. A petition against the prosecution got more than 300,000 signatures online. And this summer, Caitlin flew to New York to march in the world's largest annual gay pride parade.
What does it feel like to, in some ways, become this icon of the gay community?
It's pretty awesome because, the support from that community is just overwhelming, but nice at the same time.
I'm scared of losing my life, the rest of my life, not being able to go to college and be around kids and my sisters and my family.
If Caitlin were Kyle, how different would this be?
My honest opinion is it would not be an issue.
Do you think CS's parents would have gone to the police had they not believed she was in a gay relationship?
I believe that they would have gone to the police anytime they found out that an adult was having sex with their child, particularly at school.
An adult, someone who's in high school with her.
She's an adult.
Basketball team, cheerleading.
She is an adult. Florida has a mandatory reporting law, and if they had not reported, they would have been committing a crime.
Even so, the prosecutor offered Caitlin a plea deal. It included no jail time. She rejected the offer, insisting she did nothing wrong. She wanted a trial to prove her innocence.
Tell me what you were fighting for.
Equality, justice.
But then, a shocking reversal. 20,000 reasons, Caitlin Hunt landed right back in jail. Parents thrown into a tailspin over a phone call from their daughter. Behind bars and desperate.
Just hang in there, just calm down.
And what about the other parents? We'll hear how they have suffered and their surprising views about the relationship that became a crime. Stay with us.
2020 continues with Matt Gutman.
Free Kate became the nationwide rallying cry for Caitlin Hunt's army of supporters.
There has been a massive campaign all week on her behalf.
The peppy Florida high school senior had been arrested for having a sexual relationship with a 9th grader, a 14-year-old girl.
Did you love her?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved her a lot. I was like my best friend too,
Serious jail time because of her sexual relationship.
Charged with having sex with a 14-year-old female classmate.
She's not a predator. She's not a pedophile. She's this beautiful, smart, talented girl.
Caitlin Hunt's family and supporters complained loudly that anti-gay bigotry was driving the prosecution, bias on the part of the state and the younger girl's parents. Those supposedly bigoted, biased parents, Jim and Lori Smith.
She definitely took our daughter's innocence away in a way that should not have been done.
When they were informed their daughter was involved with an 18-year-old, they say they don't even remember being told it was an 18-year-old girl.
18? My daughter's only 14. She's not allowed to date yet. I knew that my daughter wasn't emotionally mature enough for any 18-year-old.
If Caitlin had been a Kyle, would it have made a difference to you?
No, it wasn't the gender.
Yeah.
If it was Kyle, it still would have been wrong.
For her part, Caitlin Hunt rejected plea offers that would have let her avoid jail. She and her family insisting that she was the victim because of her sexual preference.
I just think it's so wrong. I just want to do everything I can, everything I can to beat it. And to win and get her, have her life back, our lives back.
The Smiths say they want their lives back too. Lives they say have been threatened in menacing phone calls like this one.
Your involvement in the prosecution of Caitlin Hunt means that I'm going to have to come and murder you.
They've been accused of being anti-gay.
But what if your daughter came to you and said, Mom, Dad, I'm gay?
We've asked her that, and we've talked about it, and it's not really the issue for us. We've had the conversation, and I'm perfectly fine with who she is.
She's our daughter. We're gonna love her no matter what. We're gonna love her till the day we die.
They told me today that they would accept their daughter, whatever her sexuality might be. Do you think that's true?
No, I do not. I think that's a lie. I've always thought it was a gay issue for them.
And the time the young girl ran away wound up, as they would later discover, in the bedroom of Caitlin Hunt. The girl's parents say that was one of the worst days of their lives.
Lori, of all the things that we've talked about, your daughter going missing seems to be the thing that is most painful to you. Why?
I thought someone had come and taken her, and my only thought was I should have been there. I'm supposed to take care of her. This is my baby.
But the Smith family had not heard the last of Caitlin Hunt. In spite of the judge's order forbidding any contact whatsoever, police say Caitlin had been exchanging text messages with the other girl, more than 20,000 texts, sending her nude and lewd photos and videos of herself, and most damning, there was intimate physical contact.
I wonder if you feel that you've made a mistake here.
I made a mistake.
Do you think you made a mistake? Did you do anything wrong?
I don't even know. I don't know how to answer that question, honestly. Do I think I made a mistake by dating someone in high school that I went to school with and I played basketball with? No. I don't think I made a mistake.
Do you think you made a mistake by sending her 20,000 text messages, including nude pictures of yourself?
Yeah, I think that was a mistake.
Why do you think that happened?
I think it goes back to having, two teenagers who think or are in love.
But you kept up the contact, even though you knew you shouldn't. Why?
I needed closure. I felt like I had none when that first happened in February. I was like forced to stop talking and forced to stop dating, and I just got wrapped up.
20,000 text messages. Nude pictures. Videos.
I think Caitlin Hunt forced our daughter to stay in this relationship when our daughter didn't want to be in this relationship.
The judge ordered Hunt to wait out the rest of her time before trial in the county jail. The girl who dreamed of being a songbird, she now finds herself growing older as a jailbird. Her hard times obvious during our interview with her parents in September when Caitlin called from lockup.
Okay, relax. Relax. Tell me what's going on. It's okay, calm down. I know, calm down, honey. Calm down.
Kelly Hunt says Caitlin was upset fellow inmates were harassing her. The parents try to put on a brave face for their daughter, but afterward, they can't hide their pain.
I'm so sorry. I don't think anybody can imagine what you're going through.
You can't. I mean, I don't even, just can't really describe it. It's so horrible. She's just a little kid, you know?
When you think of Caitlin Hunt, do you think of her as a kid, like your daughter, or do you think of her as an adult?
I honestly think of her as a child. I think that if she was an adult and she thought like an adult, then this would not have happened.
Do you think she loved you?
It's hard to say now, after all this came out and stuff, but I believe she did before I got in trouble.
Do you still love her now?
I love her, as a person. I don't think I could ever, be with her again.
Should it be legal for someone who is 18, regardless of sex, to be with someone who is 14?
It's a tough question, and I don't know if there's a right answer. What I know is that 2 teenage girls in high school that consent to a relationship, they shouldn't be felons for it.
I mean, I've never really got educated on dating laws or, the age differences and stuff like that.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
In the end, there would be no trial for Caitlin Hunt. Just yesterday, she agreed to a plea deal that will set her free in 2 months. She'll be home for Christmas, a gift for her heartsick family. Although there will be 2 long years of house arrest, followed by probation.
As long as I'm home with my family, I get to see everybody every day, and then I think I'll be okay.
The Smiths say their daughter is doing okay too, focusing on schoolwork and sports. A relationship between 2 girls called out of bounds. It cost them so much. One lost her innocence, the other her freedom. Both lost their love.
So what do you think tonight? Was Caitlin out of bounds? Should she have known the law? Or was this simply high school love and parents who didn't like it? Let us know on Twitter. Use the hashtag ABC2020. And if you thought that was out of bounds, wait till you see what's coming up next. Cops caught speeding in a 2020 speed trap. Stay with us.
How's this for something that's out of bounds? Police racing in their cars up to 120 miles an hour, and some were just going to the donut shop, putting us all at risk in the process. Once again, Matt Gutman with the 2020 speed trap.
So this guy's going well over 80 right now.
So there I was, humming down a highway in a Dodge Challenger, trying to chase down a speeding North Carolina state trooper.
Right there. You guys, this guy's going 70 in a 45 right now.
How'd I get here? Well, it all started when we first saw this video. It's a Florida state trooper in hot pursuit of a motorist, flying up I-95 at speeds of up to 120 miles per hour. But this is no ordinary speed demon. It's a Miami-Dade police officer.
It is a Miami police.
The cop ignores the trooper's lights and sirens and tears across lanes of traffic. Finally, 7 minutes later, he pulls over. Believing that only a criminal in a stolen car could drive so recklessly, the trooper approaches with gun drawn.
Put your hands out that window right now! Put your hands out the window!
What's the big need for speed? Turns out the cop was running late for his off-duty job as a security guard.
And I had to get there by 7 o'clock, and I didn't think I was going to make it.
And we discovered this guy isn't some kind of lone wolf. All around the country, families have learned the painful way that speeding cops can kill. To be clear, we're not talking about police responding to an emergency with lights and sirens on. And when cops just gun it, the results can be lethal. Take a look at this. It's 2:15 a.m. on this Connecticut road. A Milford Police Department car speeding in a 40-mile-per-hour zone. Suddenly, another cruiser rockets past at 94 miles per hour and rams into a passenger car. Killed in the accident were 2 19-year-old sweethearts, Ashley Krakowski, a high school hockey star with dreams of becoming a nurse, and David Servit, a talented musician who planned to go to business school.
When we found out what exactly happened, it was unbelievable.
Did it make it hurt worse once you learned that it was a police officer who hit them?
I was disgusted that it was a police officer. You see them racing around all the time, and this time they didn't get away with it.
So why do cops speed?
Because they can.
Justin Hobson is a former New Jersey state trooper who wrote a book on corruption in his agency called Breaking the Blue Wall.
And when they're speeding, where are they going? Home?
Lunch.
meeting another police officer. It's a mentality of, hey, I have a badge and the ability to go as fast as I need to go.
The problem's gotten so out of hand, some motorists are striking back, catching speeding cops in the act. Here, a caravan of hot rods and a joyride down a New Jersey highway at speeds of over 100 miles per hour. A New Jersey state trooper suddenly appears. He's going to put a stop to this, right? Wrong. He shoots ahead of them to lead the way. That Pied Piper of sports cars was suspended. This angry motorcyclist with the helmet cam turns vigilante and takes off after a fast-moving police cruiser just to prove how fast he's going. Folks, don't try this at home.
I'm going 20 miles an hour over the speed limit right now.
But none of the highway video avengers can match Ron Carr of Raleigh, North Carolina. After getting his hair blown back by lead-footed lawmen once too often, Carr linked his vehicle with cameras to expose what he calls rampant hypocrisy.
Now watch this guy. You or I would get a ticket for doing what he's doing right now.
Yes, they're fast, and he's furious.
Who polices the police? What does it take for an officer to be charged?
Right. Carr's now posting his greatest hits on, what else? His own YouTube channel.
I figure the more videos that I have, then folks will realize that it is a common problem.
But it's a problem that police departments seem reluctant to acknowledge. Going back to that terrible Connecticut crash, the officer involved was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison, though he's currently free as he appeals. The families of those two young victims wanted to uncover the scale of the problem, so they sued the police, demanding to see all dash cam video from the previous 2 years.
We wanted to know, was there a culture of speeding? Was this an isolated incident that you could forgive a little more easily?
The families did receive 500 dash cam clips, including footage of an officer on a call racing at 113 miles per hour in a 45 zone. He was suspended. But then Milford PD claimed it accidentally deleted another 2,000 dash cam clips. 2,000 clips? An accident? The family isn't buying that.
There appeared to be quite a culture of speeding to the extent that Milford finally destroyed the tapes.
Former Trooper Hobson says it's almost unheard of for cops to crack down on each other over speeding.
If you do so, you're deemed a stool pigeon, and there's ramifications for doing that.
Get out of the vehicle!
Want proof? Then turn back to that video of Florida Trooper Donna Watts. Remember, she pulled over a Miami police officer who was later fired from his department and is now trying to get his job back. But Watts says she was the one ultimately punished. After the incident, she started receiving threatening phone calls and spotting strange police vehicles in front of her home. She's now suing the cops who were snooping on her, claiming the harassment made her life hell, prompting her to leave road patrol, even her home.
Ms. Watts feels betrayed for some members of the law enforcement community to turn against her. It has torn her apart.
Next, we set up our own speed trap and a chopper in the sky, catching speeding cops lead-footed and red-handed. And we learned they like being called out for speeding any more than we do.
Don't you think it's a little hypocritical that police officers go 85 miles an hour and they would clearly pull someone like me over?
Stay with us.
We continue with 2020's Out of Bounds. Once again, Matt Gutman.
North Carolina, where tobacco is king and traffic laws reign with an iron fist. Go 15 miles an hour over the limit here, you will get your license suspended and you could land in jail. Police here are sworn to enforce these tough laws, but we wondered, do they actually obey them too? To find out, we decided to turn the tables on the cops with our own 2020 speed trap in Raleigh, North Carolina.
We're going to be along this road.
Our objective, not only to catch any speeding cops in the act,
And to all be on walkie-talkies.
but to follow them to their final destination. Our target location, a stretch of I-40 near downtown Raleigh, where the speed limit is 65 miles per hour. We deploy our surveillance team, starting with Ron Carr. Remember, he's the guy who's been documenting speeding cops in Raleigh for months now. His job is to alert us of any fast-moving squad car heading our way.
White Dodge Charger, left lane.
Actually, he's running hot.
To accurately measure how fast any suspected speeding cops are traveling,
3, 2, 1, mark.
We set up 2 checkpoints.
3, 2, 1, mark.
The plan is if we confirm cops are speeding, we'll spring our trap, deploying my chase car to tail them wherever they're going. Even though we chose something with some hefty horsepower, we don't want to get busted for speeding ourselves. So in case we lose them,
where did he go?
We brought in the Air Cavalry, a 2020 helicopter equipped with an aerial surveillance camera. Those cops can run, but they can't hide from our eye in the sky. The 2020 speed trap is set, and it's not long till this cruiser flies by our checkpoints at 75 miles per hour.
Mark.
That's 10 over the limit. No lights, no sirens. By the time the cruiser reaches us in the chase car, we estimate it's picked up even more speed.
It's going about 85. It's hard for us to catch up.
My chase car is left in the dust, but luckily, our chopper team gets us right back on track.
We're on it. Chopper's on it.
It says SBI Crime Lab.
We're able to follow the car to its final destination and confront the lead-footed driver.
Matt Gutman from ABC News.
Hi.
How you been?
I'm good.
Good. We were watching you on I-40.
Okay.
We're going about 85 miles an hour.
Okay.
Wondering what you think about that.
I don't really have a comment.
You don't have a comment?
No.
It's hardly an emergency. The officer is just dropping off evidence at the state crime lab.
Don't you think it's a little hypocritical that police officers go 85 miles an hour and they would clearly pull someone like me over? That would upset people. Isn't what you're supposed to do, to some extent, serve as an example of how people should drive?
So stand by, this guy's moving.
Astonishingly, the cops kept coming, zooming by us, smashing speed laws to take care of non-emergency business.
He's cooking.
Like the sheriff's deputy who hits 85 miles per hour, that's 20 over the limit. We're able to follow the deputy all the way downtown, where we discover there's no emergency. She was just apparently late for an appointment at the courthouse.
All right, she is pulling into the official intake vehicles only. We can't do that.
He's running hot.
Same story with another sheriff's vehicle that we clock at 82 miles per hour.
He's going so fast.
He was going 82. Stay on him. Chopper, stay on him. Everybody stay on him.
He's moving too fast for me to keep up with.
Oh, man, we just lost him.
Finally, our trusty chopper again comes to the rescue and puts us back on his tail. The officer leads us on a merry, slow-speed chase through Raleigh's downtown streets.
He's going around in circles. He is aware we're following him. I think he's trying to shake us.
He finally comes to a stop at the federal courthouse.
We're from ABC News. We noticed that on I-40 over there, you were going about 82, 85. Wondering if you were on an emergency call. We didn't see the flashers.
Pick up a federal prisoner and take him back to Escombe County.
I don't know, if I went 81 or 82, you'd probably pull me over.
I would.
You think your superior would mind that you were going that fast?
Would he mind? Probably. 2, 1, mark.
But not all of the cops we caught speeding were on official business. Check out this officer cruising by at 79 miles per hour. Our helicopter crew tracks him as he exits the highway and follows him to, you're not gonna believe this, a donut shop. And Dunkin' Donuts wasn't the only eye-opening destination we discovered in the course of our surveillance op. Check out this highway patrol SUV speeding at 75 miles per hour.
I see him.
By the time he gets to us in the chase car, we estimate he's going even faster.
So this guy's going well over 80 right now, the middle lane.
Tearing across lanes just to get to his exit.
Oh, wow, he did 3 lanes at once. He did 3 lanes without using his blinkers, ladies and gentlemen.
We're able to catch up on a local road, but again, he punches the accelerator.
You guys, this guy's going 70 in a 45 right now.
We finally find out where the trooper was headed in such an all-fire hurry. Incredibly, he was speeding just to get to the Highway Patrol Training Academy. This place even has its own driver's training course.
So, we're doing a story about speeding cops, and we noticed you were going about, I don't know, 80 miles an hour on the highway, and then about 75 in a 45. We had a hard time keeping up with you.
Yeah, I was trying to get over here this morning.
The concern is that, you know, police officers speeding, a lot of folks want to see you set an example, and if you're going about 15, 20 miles over the speed limit, there might be some concern.
I understand what you're saying.
If you're wondering what subject this officer teaches here, take a look at his shirt. Yup, that's right. He's a driving instructor.
Hey, gentlemen, how are you?
time to get some answers. We walk into the training academy with cameras rolling.
Let me get you to step inside.
Sure.
But none of the supervisors on site are willing to talk.
You're not even curious about what your guys are doing, the guys who are speeding to get here to work for you?
Sir, I'm not even at liberty to discuss this with you.
Later, after we've left North Carolina, a spokesman for the Highway Patrol tells us they've launched an investigation into what we found.
We went ahead and started looking into this matter, and we're going to handle it accordingly.
Do you find it outrageous that one of the people we found driving most recklessly seemed to be a driving instructor?
That's not a good thing. It kind of paints the wrong type of message. We are dealing with that individual.
But in Connecticut, what we found during our surveillance operation came as no surprise to the families of teenagers Ashley Krakowski and David Servin, who lost their lives because of a speeding cop. Today, they rest side by side. The tragedy has left their families deeply skeptical that cops will actually crack down on their own.
And never in a million years will they do that, ever.
Would you say that these speeding cops destroyed your family?
Yes, they did ours.
Ripped our hearts out.
They did. And it could be anybody's kid, anybody's child. And it's the worst thing you could ever happen to you.
Our hearts go out to both of those families tonight, and we wondered, have you seen speeding cops? Let us know on Twitter. Use the hashtag ABC2020. And next here, the kindergarten teacher caught out of bounds when she had her kindergartners go after the bully. We'll be right back.
The mob's got a phrase for it, ordering a hit. But that took on an all-new meaning this past summer when a Texas teacher was accused of ordering kids to literally hit a fellow student, a kindergartner. So as John Quinones lays out the story, who are you going to believe, the veteran teacher or the child?
Were you loud at the kids?
I'm loud.
Cynthia Ambrose is a kindergarten teacher who earned a reputation for being the enforcer at Salinas Elementary in San Antonio. Known for the cup of ice chips that she kept on her desk, some say she was just as infamous for a kind of ice water coursing through her veins.
Were you tough on the kids?
If they were in trouble, timeout.
But now it's the teacher who's being given the timeout for the first time in her 11-year career for an incident that would not only cost her her job, but land her in a court of law.
Do you miss those kids in the classroom?
So bad.
She was very mean to everybody. All the kids were scared of her.
She misunderstood what was appropriate in disciplining a child.
How would you describe her?
As having crossed a line that no teacher should cross.
It was supposed to be a teachable moment, and it just, backfired on me.
Aiden Neely may not look like a bully as he tackles those monkey bars, but that's exactly how school officials painted him when he attended kindergarten at Salinas Elementary back in May of 2012.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Good.
I'm John.
When I recently met Aiden, he was by all appearances a polite, poised, perfectly behaved little boy.
When you grow up, what do you want to be?
A football player.
Football player.
But back on that spring morning, Aiden's teacher, Barbara Ramirez, received complaints that Aiden was bullying other students. So she took him directly to Cynthia Ambrose for a healthy dose of her trademark tough love.
Ms. Ramirez walked into my classroom upset, talking about how he had punched some girls and kicked some boys. And I was like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to scare him?
In keeping with her M.O., Ambrose takes discipline to a whole new level. She stands Aiden in front of the class and makes an outrageous appeal to her students.
I turned around and said, well, does everybody want to show what it feels like? Expecting a yes, and I would turn to Aiden and say, would you like your friends to hit you?
Sure enough, a student took the dare, and suddenly 6-year-old Aiden was under assault.
It happened so freaking fast that next thing I know, I hear this hit.
Aiden's mom, Amy, is horrified by what she says happens next.
Miss Ambrose took it upon herself to have her kids line up and hit Aiden. Some in the face, some in the back, some on his head. He said some hit him twice.
Word spread, and Ambrose suddenly found herself in the principal's office.
He had to call HR, and that's when I started crying, and because I knew I was done.
An angry mother hit back.
My stomach was in knots.
But the boy's mom says that is not enough.
Talking to any news organization that would listen.
This teacher is going to be back in the school system and teaching other children.
Ambrose was ultimately suspended and left Salinas Elementary. But that wasn't enough for District Attorney Susan Reed.
We have not had a case like this before. And I felt it was imperative that the state speak up about it.
In June, Ambrose was put on trial, accused of encouraging multiple students to hit Aiden that day. But if you think Ambrose was about to fall on her sword, think again.
How many kids hit him?
That I know of, one.
Only one? That's a far cry from what Aiden Neely would tell a sympathetic jury. He was the prosecution's star witness.
Do you remember other kids getting up and slapping you in the back?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember how many kids did it?
I think like 21.
The prosecution also called the only other adult eyewitness, that teacher who brought Aiden to Ambrose's class that day, Barbara Ramirez, and she had her own damning account.
Then that's when she asked, she's like, come on, boys and girls, let's line up and let's bully Aiden.
Did Miss Ambrose say anything when she saw the students hitting Aiden?
That's when she's like, come on, let's hit him harder.
Did you say those things?
No.
Not expecting them to do that.
No.
You're sorry you said that.
Big time. I wish I could take them back.
Is Cynthia now lying?
Yes, she scared him. She humiliated him.
No chance that this could have been misconstrued, that maybe it was a misunderstanding by a kindergarten student?
I think the misunderstanding was on the part of Miss Ambrose. She misunderstood what was appropriate in disciplining a child.
During the trial, Ambrose says she'd visit the church adjacent to the courthouse. The once unbending disciplinarian on bended knee.
Everybody kept praying and saying, you know, have faith in God. The truth will come out.
But the truth in the jury's eyes took less than an hour to find. After only 36 minutes of deliberation,